this was my biggest concern when they got Russ, was he's going to play end of game minutes. That's a problem for them. I think Terrence Mann's minutes going down. Eric Gordon, who was really not good in this game, but also his minutes are going to go down and everything like that. I'm not even on the Bones Highland aspect of minutes being taken, because I don't think
my question for the group: how much pressure is it when you get a player like Russell Westbrook, and how obligated are you to play? I watched this with Steve Nash.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he got a player, especially like LaMarcus Aldridge, he forced minutes when he could have got some other player out there
Nick Claxton, right? Like,
that could have been, but even then when they had him, his development was held up because he was forcing LaMarcus Aldridge into the fire. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you've been doing this, and it's the same thing. It's like, Tyler, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? Like, I understand what type of player Russell Westbrook, he definitely could be a starter anywhere, but for the sake of the success of this team, you keep Terrence Mann there, and then you find a way to slowly ease him in there. No minutes for Bones Highland, even though Bones Highland is not a defensive guy right there. But you talk about Norman Powell, Westbrook, and Plumlee being on the floor. I got a problem with that, And as great as we give Ty Lue the credit about being such a great coach, that was a flaw. That was a flaw and very incorrect right there on that situation. And I won't take away his overall success, but that exposed him right there of being caught up in the moment of, this.
I think this is part of the problem, though, right? Is that we look at Russ on the Lakers, and whatever you think of it, like he went to the 6-man role because that's LeBron's team, right? Like, this is what LeBron needs. As good as Kawhi is, and as buddy as he is with Paul George, that shit ain't the same.
No,
you're in the same building, but that is a very different locker room. It's a very different team. And the crazy thing about it is this team has more success and has probably higher expectations than what the Lakers have this year, right? And yet, like, he didn't sign there so he could come off the bench. He didn't sign there so he didn't close into games. And that's something where we talk about team culture. That's something where Ty Lue's got to be like, our best chance to win right now is this. Now, Russ made some plays. He had the great layup on the right side and everything. Like, he made some plays, but he didn't make some plays too. And I don't want to put this on him. I don't want to put this on the situation. Like, you gave 176 points. There was a lot wrong in that game, right? There was a lot right with it too. And Russ moved the ball to his credit. He turned the ball over a lot too, but he moved the ball to his credit. But that's something where that's the fear, is that it disrupts what they have. You signed him to be a pure point guard. And it may be hard for some people to figure out, but just because you get a lot of assists does not mean you move the offense.
No, not at all.
Like, not all assists are created the same. And that already was a stagnant offense, right?
I mean, to start out, the loss wasn't on Russ.
No.
I honestly, I thought it was across the board. But Trey, to your point about that, the pressure to play Russ. I mean, Russ isn't the normal buyout guy. This isn't a guy you can just be like, oh, it didn't work out, I'm just going to put him on the bench. We're just going to waive him. Didn't work out. Ty Lue was part of the group that campaigned for him to have him. So it's not clearly, like so he's going to play him like that. This is a thing that Ty identified that he absolutely needed from Russ with all of that stuff. And the other thing too, what people have to understand, this was against the Kings, who are not a good defensive team. Like, everything about it gets harder when you're going to play good defensive teams in this instance. And now what do you do when you have Zubac who's healthy and playing? What do you can't play him with Plumlee. It's harder. You have 2 non-shooters now on the court at the same time. Just so many things with that. It's a challenge there with everything that they have. And then they only have 20 games in the regular season, and they didn't have defined roles to begin with because they barely had guys playing.